Ladies and gentlemen, guys and girls, my name is Raven and welcome back to my channel. Now last night we had another Warriors Den live stream and it had some pretty goddamn big news in it. They told us about the Parry Changes, they gave us an update on the Highlander and the Nobushi reworks, which are just pretty much just major balancing passes on them. And we got a few little, tidbits here and there that I'm going to be going over as well in regard to some other heroes. Now the Conqueror, the Kensei, and the Berserker will be shown in full next week, okay? So I'll be covering that when that happens. And then all this stuff is coming on the 15th with the start of Season 5. So just a quick recap so everyone knows exactly what is happening for the timeline of this. So at the launch of Season 5 on the 15th, we will be getting the hero updates to the Kensei, the Berserker, the Conqueror, the Highlander, and the Nobushi. We'll be getting the updated Parry Changes, which are pretty damn cool. We'll be getting the refined gear, so the legendary gear that you can pick up and then refine. We'll be getting the XP boosting that you can buy via the salvage. We'll be getting the faction war, mini tabletop thing they got going on. And of course, we'll be getting the new rep level, which will be going from 40 to 50. And then of course, during the season, we'll be getting dedicated servers, input lag compensation, and the arena mode / training mode thing. Now, one thing to keep in mind as well, that Roman said himself on the Warriors Den, that the dedicated servers, we will not be waiting long for those after the season launches. So I'm assuming within maybe 2 to 3 weeks, if that, they'll be launching the dedicated servers, and then they'll put the import lag in after that. Now, they did show off some legendary weapons, which I'll be showing in the background. You might have already seen that playing in the background. But they look honestly really goddamn fucking cool, and it's going to be something for everyone to go there and grind out. Now, keep in mind as well that there'll be 3 different types of the legendary weapons, but they only showed 1 on the stream, which is what you're seeing in the background. And now we move on to the Parry Changes, which are pretty goddamn substantial, and they're going to be pretty goddamn cool. So I'm going to tell you what they are, then I'm going to give you my opinion on them. So first of all, now, if you parry someone and you guard break them, it's no longer guaranteed they have a chance to counter guard break it. Vice versa, if you get parried and then they guard break you, you will have a chance to counter guard break it. So essentially, if you're on the edge of a ledge and they, parry you, it's no longer instant death for you. You can counter guard break that and try and survive. Next big change is, if you parry a heavy attack, you can only get a guaranteed light attack. Now, one thing to keep in mind in this as well is certain moves like the Warden's zone attack is 600 milliseconds, okay? It takes for that thing to come out. So basically, any move that is 600 milliseconds, you'll be able to get out on your opponent after you parry a heavy attack. So it's basically the equivalent to a light attack or anything that's pretty goddamn quick. And on the flip side, if you manage to parry a light attack, you will be able to get a heavy attack off, or any move that is 900 milliseconds in its window time. So essentially the changes are, guard breaking is no longer guaranteed when parrying someone or getting parried. If you parry a heavy attack, you can essentially get a light attack. And if you parry a light attack, you can get a heavy attack off. And on top of that, characters like Valkyrie and Nobushi, normally when you parry them, they were out of range and you couldn't even guard break them or anything like that. Now they're going to be pulled in closer, so that way you can, get the light attacks off, you can get the guard breaks, whatever you want to do, it will work on those characters now. Now when it comes to the parry, there was another little change to the Orochi. It was a nerf, but it sort of brings him in line with everyone else. So essentially, his top light double spam thing, how he does a double tap up top, that is going from 33 damage down to 22 damage. So it's getting nerfed, but to compensate, his deflect light damage is getting buffed from 25 to 35 damage. So essentially, he's getting a nerf, but it brings him in line with what everyone else on the roster can get now, which, sucks to be an Orochi, but it's sort of fine. And at the same time, they're buffing his deflect, so you should be deflecting more if you want more damage. Now, overall, these changes are pretty goddamn cool. I'm happy with all of them. If you're good enough to parry the light attacks, you get a heavy out of it. If you can only parry the heavy attacks, you get a light attack. Everything's sort of in line, and it's going to take a while for everyone to get used to this, because right now most people will parry and then of course they'll guard break straight after, so breaking that habit is going to be pretty goddamn hard. And also getting to the habit of, once you get parried and guard broken, that you can actually counter guard break it. It's going to take a few weeks to adjust that, but overall I reckon everyone's going to be happy with this. I know I'm going to be fine with this. And now we get on to the hero specific changes, okay? We're going to be talking about the Highlander first, and holy mother of God, this guy's getting buffed a fuck ton. The Highlander has been hitting the gym, and he's going to be hitting goddamn hard for once. Considering he's carrying that big fuck off sword, it's going to make a lot more sense now. So his first change is his Celtic Curse. So the one where he dashes forward and then he can switch it to whatever side he wants. Essentially now when you do the first dash forward, if you hold the heavy attack, you can basically go into offensive form now. So you can go straight into that and flow into whatever you want. So it adds a little mind game there, and it doesn't commit him straight into doing, a heavy attack or whatever he does from that point onwards. Next up, whenever the Highlander would used to go into offensive form, it would basically do like a mini pause thing on his stamina recharge and all that sort of stuff. In other words, it kept him out of stamina a lot longer. That stuff is gone now. now, so even when you're in offensive form, you will still regen your stamina now, which would help him sustain his offensive form and overall just give him more stamina in general in terms of regeneration. Next up, and this is a big one, all of Highlander's heavy attacks are getting a buff of 5 to 10 damage. So one of his top heavies is getting a 10 damage buff. There was another one, I think it's the offensive form unblockable heavy, that's getting a 10 damage buff. And then his side heavies, they're all getting 5 damage buffs. Essentially, everything's going to just be hitting harder from the guy between 5 to 10 damage, which is pretty goddamn cool. Next change is when he's in his defensive form, his second light has reduced recovery time. And it also gives him hyper armor on a second hit, so he's able to trade blows better with that thing. Now, they also changed his caber toss, so essentially what was happening was people were going for the kick, and then they were canceling that into the caber toss with a thing where you grab them. And people were dodging the kick, but the tracking wasn't too good on the caber toss, and they were dodging the caber toss as well. So now they've fixed the tracking on that, and they've, you know, given it better forward movement. So if people dodge the kick to begin with, and you cancel the kick into a caber toss, more than likely now you'll be able to grab them with that, and at least that's what the changes are supposed to do. So that way you can throw them on the ground and kick their ass a lot more. Next up is his offensive form dodge. Now, they've basically increased the movement that he does when he dodges forward, okay? So people do, I know, the heavy attack, and then they dodge forward or whatever. It was pretty short before, so now they've increased that, so that way he can, you know, cover more distance when he's doing the whole dodge forward to chase people down. Now, they've also reduced the knockback distance from his kick, so you have to keep that in mind. It's not going to go as far. So overall, the Highlander has some pretty substantial goddamn changes. He should play a lot better now. It's not a complete rework, but it is a massive balance change to the guy. He's going to be a lot fucking stronger, and I've already seen some people on the forums and stuff who are complaining about this, and they're saying that the Highlander is going to be too fucking overpowered. We're going to have to wait and see how this guy plays out. But to all you Highlanders out there, rejoice. Your guy has been buffed, and now you can stop yelling out buff my class all the goddamn time. Now, next up, we're going to be talking about the Nobushi, and the Nobushi pretty much kind of got half fucked, but at the same time got some buffs. I don't know why they would have nerfed the Nobushi. Right now she's good, but she's not like exactly top tier or anything. But essentially what they said was that the Nobushi is not strong enough in 1v1. She's too strong in 4v4. So they wanted to sort of bring it on the level. So, you know, bring the 1v1 capabilities up while reducing the 4v4. And no idea if they've done that or not, but let's go through the changes, shall we? Sorry, Nobushis, this is going to hurt you a little bit. So first up is the Nobushi's zone attack, which has been nerfed, okay, in terms of its damage. So it used to do 33 damage. It's now down to 20 damage on the first strike, and the second strike still does the normal amount of damage. But if anyone plays, you know, the Nobushi, you know for a fact that you cancel it after the first strike, so essentially you're going to be doing less damage. But to compensate for that, her kick is getting a buff in terms of its speed. So it used to be 800 milliseconds, now it's 600 milliseconds. Now that's pretty goddamn quick. It's like a ward and zone attack type thing, so that's going to be pretty goddamn neat. And on top of that, whenever you actually land the kick, there is no longer an extra stamina cost anymore, so they took that out. Next up is her hidden stance, okay? So now when you do a top light attack from a hidden stance, it is a lot quicker. So it's now 500 milliseconds, and it used to be 600 milliseconds. So you're going to be able to poke people a little bit better. Next up is her swift recoil. This thing is pretty goddamn cool how they've done this. So essentially now the way swift recoil works is when you block an attack, you can sort of do a dash backwards thing. Now, as you're back dodging, you're able to throw out a poke. So, you know, the, I can't remember what it's called, but the one where you do the backwards poke and you poison them. Now you're able to do that off of the block into the swift recoil. So as you're dashing backwards, you're able to throw out that poke and poison people, which is going to be pretty goddamn cool. Next up, you're going to be able to cancel your Cobra Strike with a forward dodge. And they also fixed some visual bugs on the Cobra Strike where it looked like it wasn't hitting people and stuff. Now it shouldn't look like it's always making contact. So next up, there was a thing with the sprint light attack where she was hitting people and it was able to push people off ledges and stuff, yet the heavy wasn't doing that. So now they've just switched that around. So now if you want to basically knock someone off an edge from your sprint attack, you got to use the heavy. It made no sense that the light was doing it, the heavy wasn't. I'm glad they changed that. Now this is a big one, okay? So her light attacks from hidden stance have been nerfed from 18 damage down to 8 damage, and they said this was because she was reliably getting a double poke from that, but that is pretty fucking big, man. She's losing 10 damage on that. 8 damage is pitiful as fuck. But yeah, so it's sort of she's gotten some good buffs, but at the same time she's been nerfed in several different ways, so we're gonna have to wait and see how badly this affects her. But it's kind of, when you look at Highlander, he's just got nothing but fucking buffs across the board and substantial ones too. And then Nobushi's just sitting there going, hey, I'm like sort of mid-tier, and now just like, you know, this might put me even lower, higher, who knows. But yeah, poor Nobushi, man. Now, just some other little tidbits. So Shaman got another sort of nerf. The knockback from a Predator's Hunger has been reduced, okay? So it's not going to go as far, but at the same time, it's a nerf and a buff because there's instances where you'd hit people with that and then they went too far away and you couldn't follow up with your light attack, your double lights. So now you will be able to follow up with your double lights, but at the same time, you're not going to be able to ledge people as good. So for Shaman, it's a nerf and a buff. And there were a few little fixes for Shinobi. So essentially, there was a bug where people could guard break him out of his kick. That has been fixed now. They fixed an issue where his charge kick could send people off into like, you know, weird different directions. So that should be more predictable now. And they fixed a bug as well where Shinobi's guard breaking someone could actually guard break a completely different person than the one he was intending to guard break. So there was two people next to each other. One guy was slightly behind him. You want to guard break the guy in front, but it would actually guard break the guy behind. So that was pretty weird. No idea what that was happening, but it's going to be fixed. And there is one more when it comes to the Warden. So his zone attack no longer gives a free guard break when blocked. But yeah, so far those are some pretty big changes, and that's pretty much the main thing. We're getting some, you know, more executions and cosmetics and stuff, but right now I'm focused mainly on the big changes to the game in terms of the characters and the actual way we fight. And those parry changes are going to be pretty goddamn cool. Highlander's getting buffed to the shithouse, and the Bushi's half getting fucked might be good. We'll see how that goes. But that is the end of the video, guys. So thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and let me know your thoughts. What do you think about the parry changes? I really want to hear about that, and the Highlander changes and the Nobushi changes. Let me know your thoughts down below. And if you like this video and you like what I'm doing here on the channel and you want to support the channel further, feel free to check me out on Patreon. There'll be a link down below in the description box. The link will pop up at the end of the video, and if you choose to donate, it is greatly appreciated. And please share this video around. It does help me out a fuck ton. And if you want to see more videos from me, please hit the subscribe button. I shall see you all in the next video. Have a good one, guys.